Hi, my name is Tobi, and I've been wrestling with a pornography addiction since I was 8 years old. I can't remember what compelled me to put the words into the search engine, but I did, and here I am. And I was always a responsible kid, so parents and teachers didn't feel the need to supervise me. I was given freedom, and that's what I did with it for whatever reason. And I grew up in a church that was pretty small, so everyone knew me, everyone saw me grow up, like, oh, little Toby, and there was never really any explicit pressure to be perfect, but I was the one who knew all the answers in Bible school, in Sunday school, and I was the one that I felt like the adults depended on. So when I started consuming pornography, I didn't feel as though I could really tell the adults, because then I'd become a problem, and I felt like everything that people loved about me was a lie, and I felt like I couldn't really talk to peers either, because everyone that in the stuff that I was consuming, they were adults, and so I knew that this isn't something for me, but I didn't really understand what was going on. I just knew that when I tried to stop, I couldn't. And so as I got older, once I heard the word addiction for the first time, I'm like, oh, I have one of those. And when I heard the word pornography the first time, I'm like, oh, that's the name for it. And even when it was brought up, it was in church, but it was in the context talking about guys, and boys were being warned against it. So then it's like, oh, okay, so I'm not even supposed to be susceptible to this, but I was. So there was a lot of shame, because I felt like I just kept that all inside. I would be going around living my normal life, but I knew what would happen when I went home. And it was kind of like a shadow version of myself that I couldn't share with other people for fear of rejection. And that lasted for a lot of years. And the way that I saw myself was skewed. The way that I saw peers, authority figures, you name it, it was messed up, and I didn't know what to do. And I was still attending church throughout that time. I gave every part of my life to God except for that. I remember being at youth retreats and just in worship, when it was just me and God at my barest moments. We sang the song called Brokenness Aside, and in the chorus there's a line that says, I'm caught up in words, tangled in lies. And I remember singing that with my whole heart, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was so lost. And then I acknowledged that, and then I just kind of went home and went back to my regular life. And things didn't really change until the summer of 2017. Two important things happened. Firstly, I was on this missions trip called SOAR Montreal, and God told me that I needed to share about my struggle with my team, and that was terrifying, because I was just so afraid of being rejected, that they would look at me and be like, what do you mean you're 8? What do you mean this is going on the whole time? You're disgusting, all the stuff that I told myself. And then the night came, and I was really afraid, and I told one of the other people on my team, I have something to tell you, because they noticed that I was anxious. And they're just like, don't worry, Toby, we'll love you no matter what. And then that same person sat down in our circle, and before I even said a word, they're just like, hey guys, I need to share something. I have a pornography addiction. And so all I had to say was me too. And then elaborate a little, and it was out, and the rejection that I was expecting didn't come. And I expected it to be hard to share, but God just made the way. And amidst that, the reality of God's grace became true to me as well. I realized that I couldn't earn it, and I didn't deserve it, when I was so used to earning other things, and I could earn everything else except for that. And I was I was set so free, realizing all the lies that I'd believed, that keeping it a secret was a good idea. I had so much pride in my ability to keep it a secret. I consumed it at school, in the basement at my house, you name it, and I was never caught. And I think I wanted to be. I remember in grade 6, when I first tried to stop, I was marking on my calendar the days that I was clean, and I think I wanted someone to see it, but no one really noticed. And so just all of that being set free and being known was a really beautiful thing. And then I also asked one of my mentors, Fiona, to join alongside me in accountability, and that was also very new and scary, because I was used to just there being the days that were the free days, and then those were good, and then the days that I was the only one that had a reason for hating myself. So to bring someone else into that was terrifying, but also incredibly freeing to share the victories, the 1 weeks, the 2 weeks. We just hit 7 months, which is which is the longest it's been since I was tracking on my calendar in grade 6. And I could not have envisioned that freedom when I was younger, because it just seemed like something that had been a part of me my whole life. It was as much a part of me as anything else, and I couldn't imagine things without it, because it was just so intertwined in the rest of my life, but God has been rooting out those things. He's been replacing the lie that pornography sold me with like real relationships with people, real emotional intimacy. I have a community that I stand alongside that supports me, and thanks to the people around me and my God who fights for me, I sit here, I guess, victorious.